Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Great to have the Maverick family back together tonight because we have a lot of ground to cover. Dragon is on the scene in Montreal for a protest related to the ceasefire in Gaza. We're going to update all of that for you. We'll, I think, take a look back. Race to replace Justin Trudeau heats up as Mark Carney officially enters the race today. Chrystia Freeland apparently not far behind. What else? Pat King, Freedom Convoy protester, Freedom Movement personality leader. I don't know. I don't know what personality person. Yeah, he's back in court for sentencing. And we'll tell you about that, and also the controversy, the infighting kind of surrounding this upcoming Convoy 2.0 thing that seems to be sort of maybe unfolding, but not necessarily, and the controversy connected back to somebody who knows Pat King, who claims to like Pat King, and Pat King has people saying that Pat King has nothing to do with any of it, and we'll show you what I'm talking about. And if that didn't make any sense, that's because the world is upside down. But stay with me, because Dragon will be back on the other side of this to help us make sense of at least the Gaza protest in Montreal.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
We are also going to take you on an aerial tour of LA County with the California National Guard on a helicopter to assess the devastation from the wildfires out there. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And I also have something that will probably help you understand why so many people are seeing unidentified flying objects these days. But first, tonight, Israel and Hamas, that ceasefire. It is historic, and the situation is still volatile. We know that Israel's cabinet will meet tomorrow. They're going to vote on the ceasefire and the hostage release deal with Hamas, even though they did run into a bit of a snag. There was a delay because of Hamas is creating a last-minute crisis, according to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, although what exactly that issue was is not exactly clear. The office of the Prime Minister not really elaborating on details. Hamas has said that it is committed to the ceasefire agreement, which was announced by mediators. I did see a video after the agreement was reached yesterday with a Hamas leader, and it didn't sound very conciliatory. It didn't sound very peace-oriented, honestly. I think the entire situation is incredibly fragile. Current Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, said at a news conference today that he remains confident the deal will be implemented as planned. And the deal, which starts on Sunday, includes a 6-week truce right up front, which could end 15 months of fighting in the Gaza Strip. Now, this first phase of this agreement would end up freeing 33 hostages held in Gaza, starting with 2 Americans. In addition to that, it will also free Palestinians held in Israeli jails, I believe, in excess of 100 or somewhere around 100. Now, since then, at least 80 Palestinians have been killed in Israel from Israeli airstrikes, so the violence continues there on both sides, even though we are now in a situation where we have a pending ceasefire due to take effect in just a number of days. That being said, protests continue, and that's where Dragon comes in. Tonight he's on the scene in Montreal. Let's go live now to Dragon. He's on the streets,
YouTube and Rumbles.
Hang on. Okay, he's there with
if
someone.
You got something to say,
what
sure.
He's doing. Sounds like Dragon has somebody even to talk to tonight.
Hey, what's up, sir?
Hello,
How
Dragon.
Ali follow Asma OMS.
So,
you have someone to interview. Go ahead.
Asma OMS on Twitch.
All right,
Asma
so
OMS on Twitch.
je peux te poser une question. Can I ask you a question in English real quick? What's your impression about Trudeau's yesterday statement about the Gaza helps being given?
I have no statement.
All right. So I'm sorry, my friend. I think this guy doesn't have much of a statement.
Okay. That was weird. Well, just give us the lay of the land there, Dragon. What is happening on the streets? You have
So
a
what we have
protest
tonight
ongoing?
is more of a representation of, the fact that we're going to have a ceasefire signed. These guys are tonight being pretty much happy about it. But I have some of those people that I have asked question about how do you feel about those last ceasefire statement from Trudeau and such, and they said most of all that they are, it's been late for him to do those statements and those such a thing. So it's more of a representation right now, more than a protest. They're kind of happy because they have a bit of a change of their tone tonight, as Reza as one kind of thing. So
let me get this straight. So they're more upbeat and positive, but they're still upset because they say it's coming too late. This ceasefire, and the
ceasefire has come too late, kind of thing.
Okay, and they're directing a lot of this concern, if you want to call it that, at Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, well, they're not talking about Justin Trudeau much. Most of the people that I asked about it said that they have no idea of Trudeau that has done a statement yesterday with all the other primes, right? But that's kind of weird because if I would be them, I would be aware of that kind of thing, right? But no, they are positive mostly about the ceasefire, and they just wish that it will uphold, from what I get here.
So, did they indicate why they're actually out on the streets tonight protesting? A ceasefire is what they wanted. So, but they're still out there protesting for what? Or do we even
Well,
know?
this is why it is becoming more of a show off, if you will, because they were supposed to be doing that. It was organized for a while already. But since we have this, ceasefire to be signed, it's becoming more of a show off and a kind of a opportunity to be happy instead of protesting. But still, the streets are blocked on Stanley and St. Catherine Street, as you can see.
Yeah, so they're blocking the streets. Okay.
Right in front of a second cup, which is kind of a weird kind of thing, right? When you think about that lady that was fired from the second cup after the show of sign of of the Nazi sign that she did with her hand.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, actually. That's a story I don't think I'm familiar with, but anyway, that's okay.
Oh, some of the people might remember one of the protester that was actually at Montreal, I think 2 months ago. She did the salute from the Nazi salute, and she got fired, and she was working at a second cup.
Oh, right. I do remember that. Yes, they got video of her doing the Nazi salute. Yeah. Now they're not just protesting there tonight. Are they also not protesting at at one of the embassies?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was walking toward the embassy of Montreal, the U.S. embassy, but I came right across them right here on Stanley Street, and the embassy is not really far away from here. So I'm not sure if there's another group protesting in front of the embassy at the same time.
Okay. Can you just, we're going to come back to you from time to time during the broadcast tonight, just to kind of keep updated on what's going on there. But can you just turn the camera and maybe just walk over a little closer to the protesters and just give us just give us a little tour closer up so we can see what's going on?
Let me just turn my camera around and we'll show you a little bit of what's going on in the background.
Sure.
So there we go.
Yeah,
so they are starting to
just walk over closer. You don't have to talk to anybody or disturb anyone, but give us an idea of what's going on.
I'll have to go on my because they are starting to walk already now.
Right.
So we are on a rally. So if my feed cut for a moment, it's normal. It's because we're going back to my data. So
okay,
don't worry. I'll go in front of the rally. Time to run.
Now, since the ceasefire, we've seen Joe Biden come out yesterday and talk about the work of his administration to put this ceasefire together. And then at the same time, Donald Trump has been posting online, taking credit for the ceasefire, saying it would never have happened if it had not been for his decisive win in the election and his return to the White House. So Dragon's feed got cut there, but he will be back, and we will continue our coverage throughout the broadcast tonight, going back to check in with him from time to time during tonight's broadcast. Now, just before I forget about this, and we're going to get into some of these other top news stories of the day, but all this talk of UFOs, right? The committees, the government hearings, the concerns about the drones, all of these things. I'm going to show you some video from tonight, and this I hope this just shows everyone what is really going on out there. And this is just one of the reasons I think that people are seeing more and more unidentified objects. In this case, I'd say unidentified falling objects. Look at this. Just look at this. Let me run this video.
Harry, get a picture! Wait, get a picture! Ready?
Good, it's about to fall on top of us.
See it! Guys, oh my gosh! What is this? Are we gonna fucking die? Look up at me, Melissa. Right there! Right here! Shane, what is that?
That's how the burn of the atmosphere is what that is.
That's crazy. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Oh my god, I gotta FaceTime one of my
That is 100% something burning up the atmosphere.
That's
So,
wild, man.
Elon Musk reposted this,
Yeah.
and what it appears to be, this is not the alien invasion beginning, as some people have suggested. This is, it appears to be a SpaceX rocket
Good, it's about to fall on top of us.
breaking up in the atmosphere, returning to Earth, and then burning up in the atmosphere. It appears to be some sort of a rocket launch that failed, and the debris came showering down in a
That's
colorful.
crazy. I've never
bunch of-
seen anything like that in my life.
And that's just one example of stuff that's up there these days that a lot of people maybe are not really familiar with. It's like it's unusual that you can hear the people in the video saying, I've never seen anything like that. We're gonna die. Here's another angle on the same incident. Well, let's run this one.
Are those shooting stars?
What is it?
What are those?
Look up, everybody! Look up! Look up!
It's kind of beautiful in its
Are those shooting
own destructive
stars?
way. But it's not aliens invading.
What are
It's okay,
those?
folks.
Look up, everybody! Look up!
Although it is an indication that we are maybe not engaging in the war of the worlds, but it is a war of the world, and that's moving into outer space. Okay, back on the streets of Montreal with Dragon. Here's the look at the protests now moving through the streets.
So yeah, as you can see, they're chanting pretty loudly compared to usual.
Well, I said yesterday that this ceasefire is fragile, and in my opinion, it's unlikely to hold. I don't think this situation in Gaza is over.
Yeah, well, I hope that this will stand because I think there's a lot of people frustrated to see that every week.
Yeah.
So now I'm on an event. Whoops. I'm getting entangled into flags for some reason. And there we go.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion surrounding all of this.
Yeah, and I can see there's a lot of people of every walks of life, or every origin and every type of ideology walking and supporting, that ceasefire. So, and I think it's probably more because of the ceasefire right now that people want to be upheld and to stand on the ground for once and for all.
To to speak to anyone there and they actually have something to say, maybe just ask them, Dragon, what their opinion is and whether they are optimistic or if they think the ceasefire will hold and if it will lead to peace.
Yeah, well, that would be just great. Just let me get my headphones real quick because I've lost one of my ears. Okay, there we go. Let's see if I can get some comment. Hey, can I ask you a question? Do you think that the ceasefire will stand?
I don't think so.
Sorry?
I don't think so, no.
You don't think that the ceasefire will stand?
They're already conflict.
All right. Well, what do you think about Trudeau yesterday's statement about the help in Gaza that will be
I'm
given?
not well informed enough to.
All right. So let's see if I can get some more answers.
So already a little bit of pessimism there, skepticism that this deal is actually going to lead to peace. And I tend to agree that I just don't, it doesn't feel like there's anything that's solid behind this. And we've already seen.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get someone here, but it's kind of hard because they don't want to talk much.
I understand. Yeah.
But I'm with Maverick News, ma'am. So if you ask. So, yeah. All right. Let's see if I can get someone here. Hey, ma'am. Can I ask you a question real quick about yesterday's statement of Trudeau and the help on Gaza that will be given? All right.
Just, Dragon, just ask them if they think, you know, this will lead to peace. If the ceasefire will hold.
All right. Hey, sir. Can I ask you a question? Do you think that...
Hey, tu m'as posé plein de questions tout à l'heure, t'en
I know,
souviens-tu?
but I want one last question real quick, sir. Because I asked you a question. I asked this man a question earlier, so you're going to see him on my video earlier. But do you think that the ceasefire will stand?
Ici, je pense que le cessez-le-feu va tenir.
Oui.
Non, ça va être encore la résistance.
You think there will be more resistance? Il va y avoir plus de résistance.
Oui, 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 oui. Ils n'auront pas le choix parce qu'Israël, l'État sioniste fasciste, il ne respecte aucune loi, que ce soit international ou même un cessez-le-feu. Ils en viennent de faire combien de fois la preuve qu'ils ne respectent aucune entente.
All right. Bon, je vous remercie.
Parfait.
Okay, can you translate that for us, Dragon? What did he say?
Oh my God. So, I hope you heard that right.
Yeah, what did he say? Translate for us.
To translate you what he says that he doesn't think that the ceasefire will stand. Israel have shown many times that they don't hold international laws and such, and they have basically broken more of their others agreement that they have upheld. So yeah, this is probably a new one, just a new signing and some more resistance to come.
Okay. Well, we'll sign off for now. We'll let you catch up with the marchers, and we'll check back in with Dragon a little later in the broadcast and see where it is that they actually end up going. So yeah, Dragon, we'll sign off with you, and we'll try and reconnect in maybe about a half an hour. Okay?
All right. I'll be there.
Okay. All right, let's take a little break, and then we're going to move on to other top news stories of the day. Don't go away.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, for anybody who's part of the freedom movement or has been taking note of what's been going on the freedom side of the agenda, you will definitely want information on this. Pat King, he was a Freedom Convoy organizer, a participant, whatever you want to classify him as. Anyway, he's back in court. His sentencing hearing began today. I believe it continues for at least tomorrow as well. And even though the sentencing hearing is underway, the judge today indicated that a decision on sentencing could be still weeks away. Back in November, Superior Court Justice Charles Hackland found Pat King guilty on 5 counts, including mischief and disobeying a court order. He was found not guilty on 3 counts of intimidation and 1 of obstructing police. Now, the Crown is seeking a significant penalty for Pat King. Could be like a decade, maybe even like 13 years behind bars if the Crown gets what it wants. And of course, Pat King was a prominent figure back in 2022 when the Freedom Convoy rolled into Ottawa. Now, today, there were some interesting activities, shall we say, and exchanges outside the courthouse. Most notable was the presence of Queenie, a freedom movement personality again. Queenie's been on this program. And anyway, in any case, I know that she knows Pat King. They've had a fairly lengthy friendship, relationship, whatever. Well, today, Kareem Assad, her videographer, live streamer, influencer, a lawyer, credit to her for, and her videographer for shooting this video. Talking to Queenie, it looks like Queenie has had some sort of a falling out with Pat King. There's been all this talk. I haven't really talked about it much because I'm not sure how much traction this has really been getting, but there's talk of a new convoy that is supposed to be, or convoys happening, like Convoy 2.0, marking the anniversary of the Freedom Convoy. And it's almost coinciding with the inauguration of Donald Trump. In any event, Queenie's been involved with that to some degree, and I think fairly extensively. And talking about Pat King, and they've had some sort of a falling out. This is what was said outside the courthouse today. Very interesting.
I heard you wanted to expose Pat King, and you were his best friend until
yesterday. Till yesterday.
What's your name?
So exactly who do you work for?
I work for Karima. Is this something you're going to work out with him?
Nope. Nope, he did me wrong. His old lady went public yesterday and tried to expose me, claiming that he wasn't my friend and he's been my friend for 2 fucking years. Okay? She's upset because I got a tattoo of his body on my body because I believed in him and went against what people said about him, and I went to bat with him for him to stab me in the back and then find out all the stuff that he frauded people out of their money that they raised for him here in Ottawa, buying plane tickets for his old lady to come to Alberta all the time, buying her things. I didn't know this because I've been working. I was the lead for the Ottawa Convoy coming up here. And then I find all this stuff out yesterday when everybody's been trying to tell me that this is what he's really like. And I was like, no, I know him really well. I talk to him all the time. We talk for hours about his lawyers and everything. I'm from Sylvan Lake, Alberta, just outside of where he's from, Red Deer. I'm very close with him, and he stabbed me yesterday.
You've been very generous with your time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in anyways.
Don't know. I do know that there's this other lady. There's been other stuff posted online. Now, I heard yesterday that the whole Freedom Convoy 2.0 thing has been called off. But I didn't think it's good. But maybe not. I'm getting mixed messages. And this lady posted this saying that Pat King, well, I'll just let her speak for herself. This is what's going on within the freedom movement right now. And it's just, man, I don't know. It's just drama.
I hate that I have to do this post. It's really odd, but I have to. So there's obviously word you guys have seen. If you're part of the freedom movement, you've seen that there's word of something coming on the 25th, I think I saw, or whatever. And now I'm getting word of the person that's claiming responsibility for this convoy, and she is also saying that she's affiliated with Pat and that she's his best friend, and has gotten a tattoo recently and interviewed about this convoy, saying that she's best friends with Pat. I think that this is super important to say at the eve of the sentencing, which is going to be Thursday and Friday for Pat, that she is not Pat's best friend. There's not at all that kind of relationship between the two, and Pat is not involved in any way in this convoy. It's part of his conditions to not be part of any protester convoy, and Pat wants everything behind him. So this has obviously gone to now being on the internet and articles being written in quotations. Pat King's my best friend, and I'm livid right now, because this is not the time to be putting any kind of bad press out there or lies. And with somebody that's projecting themselves to be very rash and very vulgar online, and that's not the image that we want right now for Pat. Like, you can see, like, I'm breaking out in hives right now. I'm like so livid at this. So this person who goes by a Queenie is, I believe, taking donations right now for this journey to Ottawa. And if you are looking to support her because you support her movement, that's fine. If you are, however, looking to donate because you think in any way that Pat's affiliated, he is not. So there's now, now Pat's being questioned, and that is not what we need right now. We are not affiliated. He is not affiliated. If you want to donate, that's fine, but not at the name of Pat. He's not taking donations for a fucking convoy right now. He's fighting for his freedom on his own. He's not looking to cause any more fucking trouble. I hate that I had to do this, but I had to.
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. When we find out more, I'll let you know. I've been hearing a bunch of stuff, but it is what it is. Let's move on. Okay. Let's take a little break. I'm going to come back and our coverage of today's top news stories will resume.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Mark Carney. He was on, what was that? The, what's his name there? The, you know, the lefty guy. Jon Stewart? Right. His program sort of announced that he was going to enter the leadership race for the Liberal Party. Well, today he made it official. And Mark Carney, former Bank of Canada governor, former governor of the Bank of England, now saying that, oh yeah, he's in it. He's in the race to replace Justin Trudeau. Here it is.
Tories, the child of Edmonton, Alberta, and the man to lead us into the future of Canada, Mr. Mark Carney.
Wow. I'm touched. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Irene, fellow FX grad. Thank you all. Welcome to Edmonton. It is great to be here. My name's Mark. I was born in Fort Smith, and I've been in the room next door many times. You know, picture this scene. Pack of kids, team of kids, mites and house league, go in there, get their gear on, go out on the ice. You're back in between the second and third period to warm up, and I can still hear the blades of the skates tapping on the floor as we try to get the blood flowing into our toes. I don't remember a January day like today in Edmonton when I was playing hockey, I'll tell you that. Now, I wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for the love and the support of my parents. That was unwavering. It was also supported sometimes by my brothers who are here today. And I wouldn't have been there without all of the volunteers who coached the team, who built the boards in the fall, who flooded and scraped the ice, and who drove us across the city to rinks like this so we could beat our opponents from Elmwood to Rio Terrace, Jasper Place. You're all here and you know it. You can't say it. I got the mic. I'm going to just assert that we did. And you know, community is one of the main things when I think of Edmonton. My communities, Laurier Heights, the West End, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Communities where people come together to face challenges in support of one another, to get things done, and to build. And that's who we are as Canadians. La communauté, c'est à ça que je pense quand je pense à Edmonton.
Let's just zip ahead a little bit.
Mes communautés. And our climate is changing in ways that threatens life, and it's not working as it. Okay. Le système que nos parents ont bâti, il a fonctionné pour nous.
Things are not working the way they're supposed to.
But those good old times, my friends, are over. Our times are anything but ordinary. The system, it's not working as it should. And it's not working as it could. People are anxious. No wonder. Too many are falling behind. Too many young people can't afford a home. Too many people can't find a doctor. And then we're living through the two biggest technological revolutions since they split the atom. And our climate is changing in ways that threatens livelihoods from Fort Mac to Fort Smith. And then on top of that, as George just mentioned, in just 4 days, the United States will swear in Donald Trump as their 47th president, a man who threatens economic force on his closest, most steadfast allies, including Canada. Non, cette époque n'est pas ordinaire. C'est pourquoi nous sommes ici.
So Carney is in it. But will he win it? Chrystia Freeland has something to say about that, or at least she probably will Sunday. We're told Chrystia Freeland, former finance minister and former deputy prime minister under Trudeau, will announce her intention or make it official that she's going to run as well against Carney. So it'll be primarily a two-horse race within the Liberal Party. We'll see how it goes. And the real question is, would anything change under either of them? Interestingly, Chrystia Freeland, the word out there today is that if she's selected leader, she would axe the tax and get rid of the carbon tax. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's go back to Dragon on the streets of Montreal. Hello, sir. What's going on there?
Well, I'm still walking with the guys, and I'm right in front of the cortege, or the rally, as we say. So, and yeah, I've been trying to ask a few people if they would like to answer a few questions, but as usual, independent media makes them scary shy of cameras. So,
well, it's just a conversation. You just walk up and say, do you think the ceasefire is going to hold? Will it lead to peace? Just get an opinion.
All right. Hey, do you think that the ceasefire will hold this time?
Inshallah.
Huh?
Inshallah. I hope so. God willing.
But do you think it will?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm hopeful it will, but it's hard to say.
What will happen if it will? If it won't, what happens?
Hopefully people can live in peace and be happy and no more wars and genocide.
All right. Do you believe in the state solution?
No, that's okay, Dragon. Move on to the next guy. Just ask the same question. Good job.
Hey, man. Sorry. Hey, can I ask you a question real quick?
Just ask the question. Just ask the question. Don't ask if you can ask the question. If they don't want to answer, they just.
You know what? I'll go on the side and see if I can get there. All right.
What are they chanting, Dragon? What are they saying?
Intifada for revolution. One way, one solution.
There is only one solution. Intifada revolution.
Yep.
So they're still calling for an intifada, a revolution.
Yep.
Even on the eve of a ceasefire.
Yeah, well, some of them don't think that it will hold. So,
yeah,
because as I said earlier, Israel didn't really uphold earlier's ceasefire, and basically it was punch given for punch toward both sides. So, yeah, as you know, this is a conflict, and conflict doesn't make any people happy on each side.
Okay. All right, gonna duck out here again. We'll leave you to it, and we'll come back again in about a half an hour.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. Dragon still on the streets of Montreal tonight, covering the pro-Palestine protest. And we will return after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. And here's Chrystia Freeland. As I said, she has indicated, I guess, that if she is successful and becomes the leader of the Liberal Party, and therefore the next Prime Minister of Canada, to replace Justin Trudeau through the leadership selection process, that she would axe the carbon tax. And yet here she is. This is how many months ago? About 7 months ago, trying to explain to Canadians why the carbon tax would actually put more money in your pocket. Remember? Interesting how the Liberal math works, isn't it?
Our government is absolutely confident that the price on pollution returns more money to the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians. It is, and that there's just kind of common sense to that. This is a revenue neutral measure. The federal budget doesn't get a penny from the price on pollution. All the money that is collected goes back to Canadians. And actually, this is a measure where middle-class Canadians tend to get more of a benefit. I'm very glad that we're increasing. I'm turning to Sean here because we've worked with him and with Seamus. I'm very glad we're increasing the rural rebate. So we have great confidence that this is a measure which puts more money in the pockets out of 8 out of 10 Canadians, that helps middle-class Canadians, and also plays an important, a valuable role in having strong and robust climate policies.
It's a magic tax. They tax you and then give you more money back. No, their math a little bit faulty, but then this came really from a prime minister who literally said that the budget will balance itself. I have not forgotten. We'll see. Now, Chrystia Freeland, I have to say, is, I think, smarter than Justin. But she's carrying all of Justin's baggage politically heading into this leadership race against Carney, who describes himself as an outsider, but he's not an outsider. He is a longtime Liberal Party member. He has been an advisor to the government. He's been integral for a long time to the Liberal Party machine. He's not an outsider. He, an economist, Bank of Canada governor, not an upfront politician, but absolutely part of the Liberal machine for a long time. So if they're trying to sell us on the idea that Mark Carney is an outsider, not really true. They're just trying to put some distance between him and Trudeau so that that political baggage doesn't weigh Mark Carney down heading into the next election. And I would say at this point, he is the overwhelming favorite to win this leadership race, unless something strange happens. I would say he is really the chosen one. Freeland could have been a much stronger contender, but I think they tried to ultimately throw her under the bus because of the huge $60 billion federal budget deficit in that mini economic statement that she was supposed to deliver, but resigned at the last minute, sort of leaving Justin Trudeau in the lurch. And then he had to bring in Dominic LeBlanc to replace her as finance minister. You know how it went down. So we'll keep watching that one as it unfolds. But Justin Trudeau, he has his hands full. Because of Donald Trump, we have a real split in the country, man. Canada, I would say, is really, again, entering a period where we are in real danger of breaking apart because of separatist movements. Not just in Quebec, where separatism and those ideas are still alive and well, but again, rising separatist sentiment out in Western Canada, Alberta, where we've seen in the last 24 hours, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith breaking ranks with the other premiers and the Prime Minister, not signing that communique at the end of their meeting yesterday, trying to show unity heading into the negotiations with Donald Trump, who is threatening 25% across the board tariffs against all Canadian goods. And she's saying, Danielle Smith, no, Alberta won't accept any additional retaliatory tariffs on Alberta energy and won't participate in anything aimed at cutting off energy supply to the United States or even a threat of that. Not going to allow the federal government to use Alberta energy, oil and gas, as a bargaining chip in the negotiations at all. Taking that off the table. A lot of people with a lot of different opinions on this issue. Justin Trudeau went all the way to Windsor, Ontario today. Labor town, automotive town, industrial town, tool and die town. Very dependent on U.S. trade, an economic powerhouse when things are working well. Sometimes, through history, during economic downturns, Windsor has struggled. And it looks like we might be entering one of those periods right now, but Justin Trudeau trying to, again, address this issue of trade and Donald Trump's threats by visiting what some people still call Canada's automotive capital.
Perfect example of the kind of work that we've been doing in Canada and the United States for generations now, as half of the customers here from this plant are in the United States, half are in Canada. Many of them are parts of the automotive industry or other industries that then do work with customers and suppliers on both sides of the border. For generations, for decades, Canadians and Americans have been building things together, growing communities, growing prosperity, competing successfully with the world in ways that have made North America the most successful economic region in the world. The reality is the proposed tariffs by the incoming American administration will raise costs on American consumers, will put American jobs at risk. That's not something anyone wants because our economies are so intertwined. We want to see American jobs created and prospering alongside the Canadian jobs and prosperity that we successfully create here. So we're going to continue to explain to Americans that bringing in tariffs on goods from Canada is basically raising prices on American consumers, is raising taxes on the backs of Americans. Nobody wants that. But if indeed the incoming administration moves forward with these unfair and unjust tariffs, Canada will respond. We will respond in measured ways, but in robust ways, demonstrating once again that Canadians know how to stand up for ourselves. We've seen over the past weeks Canadians pull together all across the country with a pride in our identity, with a pride in our economy, with a pride in country that usually only happens around Olympic hockey games. It has been wonderful to see how strongly Canadians are speaking up about being proud to be Canadian. And it's also been wonderful to see so many people pull together across the political spectrum. The premiers yesterday, business and leaders across the country with the Council on Canada-US Relations, and ordinary Canadians, including workers at this plant, standing up to make sure that we move forward in the right directions. On est dans un moment critique pour notre pays.
Trudeau issued sort of a challenge to Pierre Poilievre today, the leader of the Conservative Party, who is way out in the polls and is likely to become the next prime minister after the next election. Challenging him to kind of choose, who are you with? Danielle Smith and Donald Trump and Kevin O'Leary, or Canada? That's sort of the way Trudeau put it. Well, Danielle Smith, who broke ranks with and kind of went rogue on her own against all the other premiers, still posting online today, and responded to Trudeau's jabs. Not that Trudeau's been that aggressive with it. I think he's trying to bring her on board. He needs Alberta. We all need Alberta. But she posted today saying with her own Team Canada plan. Here she is on X saying a real Team Canada approach. She says, how about this for building a Team Canada approach? One, stop threatening the livelihoods of tens of thousands of Albertans and Canadians via an energy export tax or ban. And two, immediately start construction on the Northern Gateway and Energy East pipelines to diversify our customer base to Europe, Asia, and our own country. 3, tell Germany, Japan, and the rest of the world that there is, in fact, a business case for Canadian oil and gas to be sold to them. And 4, repeal the unconstitutional and job-killing production cap, electricity regs, and C-69. 5, treat with respect and as an equal partner the Alberta taxpayers that have been transferring hundreds of billions to Quebec, the Maritimes, and even Ontario for decades. Let's start there on building our Team Canada approach, shall we? And she does have some valid points there. Absolutely. I totally get it. I'm in agreement. I just don't think that she should have shown Canada's cards to Donald Trump and the incoming administration in advance of any negotiations. Not wise. That's not how you play poker. But she's doing what she's doing, and overall I like Danielle Smith. But Canada, as Doug Ford says, and I think Canada does have to come first. And they all need to get their act together, and a unified voice would be preferable. Would be preferable to individual voices, and in some cases saying different things. And ultimately, it's going to come down to strong leadership from Ottawa, from the Prime Minister, whomever that might be, heading into these negotiations. Now, Danielle Smith responding very, very positively to what Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, federally had to say today about all of this. Let's pick up Poilievre, shall we?
You could be prime minister within a few months in this country. Would you be willing to impose export tax or restrictions on Canadian oil? Because you'll be dealing with Trump's threats of tariffs. This would put pressure on the Trump administration. Or is this off the table for you as it is for Danielle Smith in Alberta?
Well, first of all, I think that the first thing that President Trump should do when he gets into the Oval Office is to send a big bouquet of flowers to the Liberal government in Ottawa. By blocking pipelines and LNG plants in Canada, the Liberals have forced Canadians to sell almost all of our energy to the United States, giving President Trump massive leverage in making these tariff threats. Had they allowed the Energy East and Northern Gateway pipelines to go ahead, had they rapidly approved LNG plants to sell the natural gas that Japan, Greece, Germany, and other countries were looking for us to sell them directly, we wouldn't have to give 100%, almost 100%, of our hydrocarbons to the Americans at discount prices, and you wouldn't have had to ask me that question. Because I would have answered, in that scenario, I would have answered, we'll go around the Americans. We'll sell our energy directly. But that's something that the Liberals would not let us do. Freeland supported killing the Energy East pipeline, which would have moved 1 million barrels of Western oil to the St. John refinery and off to Europe, by the way, which would have helped defund Putin. Carney testified in the industry committee that he was against the Northern Gateway pipeline to take Canadian oil to Asia without going through the United States, by the way, while his company buys pipelines in the Middle East and in Brazil. How unpatriotic is that? So, frankly, the Liberals have got us in this mess by making us beholden to the Americans and giving them, the Americans, our energy at massive price discounts, selling our oil for $15 typically below the market rate, and selling them natural gas for $4 per million metric British thermal units when they're going for $13 in Europe. That is economic sadomasochism, and I will put an end to it. When I'm Prime Minister, we will repeal the anti-energy law C-69. We will rapidly approve LNG plants and any other private sector unsubsidized investments to expand our ability to sell our energy without going through the Americans, and I will unite our people. We see right now that not only have the Liberals weakened our economy, now they're resorting to dividing our people. Divide and conquer. Right when the president is threatening us with tariffs, what is the first thing the Liberal Party of Freeland and Carney think to do? Divide Canadians. Divide our provinces. We don't need to be divided. We need to be united. All provinces. All Canadians. Let's put Canada first.
He's got valid points too. Regardless of what happens, you know, I'm just saying, I'm on Team Canada. And unlike a lot of even freedom fighters and patriots who are ready to throw in the towel, I'm not leaving Canada. and I'm not voting or supporting any move to join the United States. Saw another online influencer who's supposed to be a patriot freedom fighter. He just crapped all over his country today and is ready to pack it in. There's the fighting spirit for you. What a great Canadian. I won't mention the name. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of them right now. Makes me wonder if maybe they're not part of the whole plan. But what do I know? What do I know? I know a lot, actually. Because I've lived here for a long, long time. I'm getting old. You know, when I think about it, I've been alive for nearly a third of the entire existence of Canada, during its existence as a nation state. That's how ancient I am. I am a Canadian fossil. Harkening back practically to the dinosaur age. I am a dinosaur, and I've seen stuff like this before, but never to this degree. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the political divide, the way that journalists are treated when they're trying to show up and cover events like Dragon right now. He had some success here tonight, getting some people to, give him a couple of quick comments. That was really great. Excellent job. It hasn't always been easy. Not easy for this Western Standard journalist here trying to cover the Mark Carney announcement today. He was, along with a few other journalists, including some student journalists, he was not allowed in to cover the event. Western Standard, I think, viewed as something of a conservative publication, news outlet in Western Canada, and not welcome, I guess, at the Carney Love-In and news conference. This from Sean Amato on X.
I would like to report the news just like everyone else.
He wasn't the only one. I understand there were about 7 of seven journalists in total, something like that, who were not allowed to go in and participate in the news conference today and cover it. So they were stuck outside, and they called the cops. But from what I'm seeing here, they just showed up, and there was no scuffle, nothing like that from what I'm seeing. It was just, no, you're not coming in, and they called the cops.
Okay, so we have just been evicted by the police for no reason. So we are accredited media being asked to leave this event. The police officers are very kind, and so that's it. So it's all over for the day.
I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like that. I really, that's not right. Western Standard is a legitimate media outlet. They do have their slant, but there's no reason they shouldn't be allowing these journalists in to just cover their event. They're not disruptive. That's not like what they would call a political intervention. That's not what those guys do. They just go in. They stand there. They're respectful. They just ask questions like any other journalist. I think the politicians on the Liberal side maybe don't like the way they cover some stories, but note they didn't let them in today. And that in a democracy, in a free society, that's not right. So right there, as far as I'm concerned, that's a strike against Mark Carney in my books, especially as a journalist. We need more free speech. We need more access to these politicians, not less, and they have every right to be there. But no, they only wanted friendly media, I guess. Confirmation hearings continuing. I yesterday made note of Marco Rubio, who is Donald Trump's pick to become Secretary of State to replace Antony Blinken. Well, I've never really been a big fan of Antony Blinken. I think that sometimes he's not the greatest diplomat. I think that he sometimes doesn't realize what the optics are like on some things. And so I think just from a PR perspective even, he hasn't really been the greatest, hasn't really put the best foot forward for America at times. Marco Rubio, I like Marco Rubio. I had some concerns about some of the language in his opening statement yesterday during his confirmation hearing. Today, I was able to watch his entire session, including the questioning. And I have to say, as I said yesterday, I still think Marco Rubio is closer to sort of a Reagan-like regular conservative. Even though there was some language used yesterday that I thought deviated from that, and I stand by it. I don't think that his choice of words talking about a liberal world order necessarily came from him. This was confirmation, not confirmation, him conforming his pitch to become Secretary of State to the current political environment. But through the rest of the hearing, I have to say, I found that everything else that he basically was saying fell into line with him being more of a traditional or orthodox Republican and Reagan-like conservative. And so it puts my mind at ease just a little bit, knowing that Rubio isn't kind of going off the deep end. Pro-Trump, yes, but also, I would say, probably not going to deviate too much from what I would expect from a conservative and what I would normally expect from him on foreign policy. So here's here's what he's saying about. Well, here's one of the clips from about Iran, okay, and you can take from this what you will. But I didn't want to leave things hanging the way that they were left yesterday, because I don't want to leave people with this impression that I think Marco Rubio has gone crazy or anything like that. Let's just run this brief clip and I'll show you what I mean.
2 points I want to make about Iran, and it's really important. When we talk about Iran, I'm talking about the radical Shia clerics and not the people. The people of Iran are people of an ancient civilization, an ancient culture with tremendous pride and advances. And I don't know who take great pride in their Persian heritage and identity. And I don't know of any nation on earth in which there is a bigger difference between the people and those who govern them than what exists in Iran. And that's a fact that needs to be made repeatedly. In no way is the clerics who run that country representative of the people of that country and of its history and of contributions it's made to humanity. And it's a point I wish we would continue to make. 2 points.
So that's, I think that's just more in line with what I would expect from him. And here's what he has to say about Ukraine, which is, again, this is more in line with what I would sort of expect from him. It's middle of the road, I find, on the issue. Here's Rubio.
The truth of the matter is that in this conflict, there is no way Russia takes all of Ukraine. The Ukrainians are too brave and fight too hard, and the country is too big. That's not going to happen. It's also unrealistic to believe that somehow a nation the size of Ukraine, no matter how incompetent and no matter how much damage the Russian Federation has suffered as a result of this invasion, there's no way Ukraine is also going to push these people all the way back to where they were on the eve of the invasion, just given the size dynamic. I saw a quote recently, and I wish I could attribute to who it was, but the quote was, and I think it was very wise, where they said the problem that Ukraine is facing is not that they're running out of money, it's that they're running out of Ukrainians. There's a size differential here that's important. Now, what Vladimir Putin has done is unacceptable. There's no doubt about it, but this war has to end. And I think it should be the official policy of the United States that we want to see it end. Now, what that master plan looks like it's going to be hard work. This is not going to be an easy endeavor. But it's going to require bold diplomacy, and my hope is that it could begin with some ceasefire, and we're going to have, in order to achieve objectives like the one that needs to occur in Ukraine, it is important for everyone to be realistic. There will have to be concessions made, by the Russian Federation, but also by the Ukrainians, and the United States has lent itself there. It's also important that there be some balance on both sides. In essence, it will be difficult to achieve this objective of a ceasefire and ultimately a peace settlement unless both sides have leverage. Putin's goal now is to have maximum leverage so that he can basically impose neutrality on Ukraine, retrofit, and come back and do this again in 4 or 5 years. And that's not an outcome I think any of us would favor. By the same token, I think it's important that the Ukrainians have leverage, but they also will have to make concessions to reach this agreement. It's going to be very difficult. This will not be easy. Conflicts of this nature that have historical underpinnings to it are going to require a lot of hard diplomacy and tough work, but that's something that needs to happen. This conflict needs to end.
So that indicates to me that this is not going to be a situation where Donald Trump just goes in there and just pulls all support for Ukraine and leaves them high and dry. Rubio's going to go in there, and he represents, I think, a more stabilized or straight line approach to this thing. And it's not going to end in 24 hours the way Donald Trump originally asserted. This is going to take time. And he's already revised that to 6 months. I'm not even sure if that's realistic. Let's go back to Dragon. Here he is on the streets.
Hey, I'm right in front of the embassy of the U.S. in Montreal. So this is where you got to go if you want to have your U.S. Protection.
Well, I don't need to go into the embassy because I'm not a U.S. citizen seeking assistance on anything. I don't need a passport issue or anything. But is there so the protest is there?
Yeah, actually, the rally has just ended here. And, well, they are standing here and making their message to the government, basically.
To the U.S.
This is what it is. Yep.
And tell me about the police presence there. I see some officers behind you. How many officers? How pronounced is the police presence tonight?
We got about, real quick count, we're about seven peace protector right behind me at the entrance of the embassy, and there's some more. I don't know if you can see the light flashes around there. I think you can see. There's some few police around there, and behind the crowd there also. You might not see them behind the crowd, but there's a huge crowd around there, and there's some other police intervention and protection around here. So,
and I see they have sort of police tape up there in multiple rows to just let people know that they're not supposed to come up on those steps at all. So you stay off the steps, stay off the embassy property.
Oh yeah, I'm
which
not going
is essentially, it really is like U.S. U.S. territory.
Not even 1 foot, guys. I'm just going to stand here on the sidewalk and respect that limit, basically.
Okay, can we take a little stroll back over closer to the demonstration and just turn the camera on the crowd again?
Yeah, sure. Let me just turn that camera around for you, ladies and gentlemen. And there we go. I think we have some beautiful image here. So this is the speaker truck right there, and you can see the crowd right there. And we got it's a huge crowd. Whoops. I'm losing my feet here, but okay, I'm back on my balance. So this is a nice crowd. I would say about 100 person. So, and it goes right through this part. Oh, Peter Grayson earlier on the chat asked a question. If I was on St. Catherine Street, yeah, I was walking and rallying on St. Catherine Street. Well, not me, but they are rallying on St. Catherine Street. So that was where I was earlier. So that gives you a perspective of what it is. think that the ceasefire will stand this time?
No, sir. You don't think we should off Israel to follow a ceasefire?
All right. Thanks. I hope you heard that well.
Yes, good job there, Dragon. Yep,
This guy
perfect.
just
Yep.
hoped that the ceasefire will stand, but you know, it's hard to believe it.
And just every person you've spoken to has indicated they don't think the ceasefire is going to hold up.
Sorry, can you repeat?
I just say every person you've spoken to so far has said they don't think the ceasefire will hold up.
Well, you know, I mean, I'll be honest with you. My own opinion, personally, is I'm not sure it will. I mean, we have proof of the past that it didn't, and you know, I mean, it's sad to see that it's probably a confrontation that will persist. I hope not, because I think we had enough of that. So,
Yeah, can
What
we
do you
just
think?
walk in a little bit closer there, Dragon? Just stay safe.
All right.
Keep on moving.
And while holding his weapon, he said that I can die either by
I'll probably ask them. Hold on.
by cardiac arrest or by Apache.
Sir, do you think that the ceasefire will stand this time?
Leaving our latest
Do you think that the ceasefire will stand this time?
latest resistance fighter died throwing the very last thing that he had in his hand, which was a piece of steak
Right.
towards their enemy.
So are you confident that it will happen?
One of his most famous words was the word "Khawa."
Yeah. I hope so too.
Let me hear you say it. Khawa!
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
So, I think this is this guy was basically from the Jew community, and I don't know if you heard him right, but he said something that, you know, he's hoping also that it will stand this time.
Right.
So,
started hearing
Okay,
about
Dragon,
the news
we're
of
gonna-
ceasefire.
I'm pretty close here.
Yeah, yeah. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
We're used to that. There's a lot
So there's, I would say, about 100 people around here, and as closer as I can get from here. Oops, nope, not here. There we go. Check that out. We're right in the middle of it. You cannot be closer than that.
Jazeera needs to do the announcement. So as soon as I did, I told you that. That's the very first thing that I did. So for the very first time, not in the past 1.5 years, but for the past 76 years in my life, not in my life, in my dad's life.
I don't know if you can see there on the wall.
My dad smiled.
There's some kind of projector there. They're using a projector on the wall right there.
Yeah, I can't really see what. I see. I don't know what they're projecting.
No, me neither. Okay, basically, it's the message that they are sending. But yeah. And I got the usual flag hiding and trying to, you know,
the last 2 hours of the war
disrupt my feed here for you.
This is why we're still anxious.
But yeah, this is what it is.
When I
If it's not the liberals kicking journalists out, it's somebody waving a flag in front of your camera. You can't win these days.
It is. But hey, I mean, we're in a free country, right? So
yes, there's a lot of things to think
And
about. But this is the very first
and if the conservatives kick journalists out, we'll hold them accountable and call it out too. Yes, we will.
thing that they're thinking about is the future. It's not just the survival.
and this is how Canadians react sometimes.
Okay, we're going to duck out of this again for a bit here, Dragon, and we'll
we are
come back to
happy
you in about a
because
half an hour.
that forced the enemy to leave
So, what's your reaction about Trudeau's yesterday comment?
Tawa, we are happy. Tawa, we are happy because Israel told
There you go.
Yeah, well, there's your answer.
the reality is
No comment. Okay, Dragon, we'll come back to you in a short while, okay?
Cool. I'll say it.
And we'll be right back. And when we do return, we're going to go on a helicopter ride to survey the devastation in the LA wildfires in LA County.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, we are back, and yes, you can support the program, and we do need your help. And Dee, thank you for your donation the other night. Your T-shirt is on its way. We've shipped that out to you, so thank you so much for that. And, oops, hang on just a second here. Yes, you can donate at freedomreporters.com, and please like, share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up on the YouTube and Rumble channels. Give us the thumbs up. I hope we've earned that tonight. At least doesn't cost you anything, and it does help us keep the channel alive and fight the algorithms, especially on YouTube, where they still are trying to suppress us. And yeah, you can also donate on Rumble through the Rumble Rants. We do have that tool available as well. And thank you, everyone, for your ongoing support here on the Maverick News channel. Thank you, Mavericks. Thank you, Maverick family. We are continuing to fight for free speech, fight for freedom, fight for the United States, and fight for Canada. Yes, I'm telling you, I'm on Team Canada. I'm not giving up on the country, even in the face of this unprecedented threat from Donald Trump with these tariffs, really threatening the entire existence of Canada. You know, about probably half of Canada's economy is dependent on the United States. It is really that serious. And yeah, we should have a long time ago diversified our economy more. Diversity is our strength. Yeah, economic diversity would certainly come in handy right now. So Polyev and Daniel Smith are right about that, at least. No question, in my opinion. I've said that for a long time anyway. But you know, you've got these NGOs, environmental groups that stand in the way of pipeline development in Canada. And that's really why those pipelines go down through the United States. It's because the federal government bent the knee, and gave in. They caved to environmental groups and political activists, anti-oil groups, including the Liberal Party, which is being very anti-oil under Trudeau. And these pipelines are not built in Canada. Can't get anything built up here when it comes to a pipeline. And we needed them. We need them now. And now we don't have them. It's leaving us vulnerable. And Pierre Poilievre is right. We're selling our energy at a discount, even though Donald Trump asserts that we are ripping the United States off. And we are not. Not at all. No need for this, but here it is. It's happening. And we are vulnerable. The strangest thing, isn't it? It absolutely is. Now, let's just see here. Dragon's still out there on the streets. I want to take you on this little tour. Palisades, California. California Army National Guard air crew conducted an aerial assessment on board a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. This shows the damage caused by the recent wildfires in California. Gives us a good aerial assessment. And I want to take you on this tour now. Here we go. Yes. Got it. Here we go. Now, the damage is so extensive here that, you know, I don't know how long, I don't know how you even assess a real dollar figure at this point, but I guess you can. Donald Trump still has not visited, even though California's Governor Gavin Newsom is really taking it on the chin over this. He's catching a lot of blame for this from a lot of people on the Trump side. But he has invited Trump to come and survey the damage, see for himself what's going on. Still has not visited. So heading into the areas most heavily damaged here in LA County. Palisades, expensive property. Today we know that the death toll has risen to at least now 27 people, and more deaths are under investigation. The Palisades fire is now over 23,700 acres with 21% containment. It remains a threat to neighborhoods on the west side of Los Angeles. The Eden fire has burned roughly 14,000 acres near Pasadena and is 45% contained, so progress is being made in fighting these blazes. Smaller fires like Hearst, 800 acres, 98% contained, Otto, 61 acres, 85% contained, and Little Mountain, 34 acres, 0% contained, are also reported. Strong winds are expected to decrease later this evening, with peak gusts dropping to 25 to 40 miles per hour in the mountains and 15 to 25 miles per hour in the valleys. It looks like, literally like bombs were dropped here, fire bombs. The red flag warning in effect for the LA area is set to expire in the afternoon, reducing immediate fire risk. However, no rain is expected soon, and we do have a situation where lighter winds are expected. And higher humidity should also help decrease the risk of new fires. There have been warnings about a new round of fierce winds potentially affecting the area, though, which could pose further risks. About 82,000 people remain under mandatory evacuation orders, with another 90,000 under evacuation warnings. Significant structural damage has been reported, as you can see, with thousands and thousands and thousands of homes and other buildings destroyed or damaged. The fires have led to air quality issues, with smoke advisories being issued through though conditions have improved to good to moderate in some areas. There are ongoing efforts to support victims, including insurance workshops, aid from FEMA, and various community initiatives. California Attorney General Rob Bonta has announced investigations into price gouging related to the fires, with the dedicated task force looking into exploited disaster victims, and Governor Newsom has taken steps to expedite recovery by suspending certain environmental review requirements. He's also extended that invitation to Donald Trump to come and survey the damage. And the cause of these fires remains under investigation. A lot of people very concerned about the way public officials, government have been handling this, and a lot of questions still to be answered. And yeah, I know that even the fire department, fire officials had expressed concerns, not just recently, although they did express it recently, but for years they've been expressing concerns about funding, budget issues. And we've also seen just in the last couple of days reports of massive amounts of fire equipment sitting idle because they don't have the budget to actually properly maintain or fix that. So all of these things will be taken into consideration as an independent investigation, which Gavin Newsom says he wants, begins to take effect. How long that will take, I don't know, but I would expect weeks, if not months, maybe even years. And Donald Trump saying that aid to the people of California affected by these wildfires may be conditional. Might be conditional. Here's more footage from the California National Guard. Aerials. Unprecedented. I personally, I can't think of anything in my lifetime that is the equivalent of this. These wildfires taking out entire cities and communities. Again, this footage courtesy of the California National Guard. This footage shot just hours ago. This is all fresh. Unbelievable. Let's go back to Montreal. There he is. Hey, Dragon.
How are you?
I'm okay. So, give us a wrap up, sir, as we approach the end of tonight's program.
Well, as we are wrapping up, this rally is also wrapping up slowly. And yeah, well, as much of a part of disruptive it was, for about an hour or two on Stanley and St. Catherine, and blocking the street till they started the march toward this beautiful monument of the U.S. Embassy that it is in Montreal. Yeah, and well, we had some good, beautiful questioning, some beautiful answers, and I hope you enjoyed. So this is what it is, my friends.
All right, great job tonight getting us, play-by-play of tonight's demonstration in Montreal. It shows that the conflict is likely not over, even though we have a ceasefire. Most of the people there tonight very skeptical that this ceasefire is likely to hold. And yeah, great job interviewing people, getting us the feedback, the reaction from the pro-Palestinian side of the story on the streets of Montreal tonight, Dragon. Thank you, sir. Great job.
You know, guys, you just need to step on your boots and be prepared for everything. And you can have your own camera on the ground and do your thing. Oh, I got a good friend here that wanted to say hi. No, he's camera shy.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thank you, Dragon.
Pleasure, my friends.
All right. Take care, my friend. Stay safe, and we'll reconvene later.
All right.
Dragon on the streets of Montreal. And with that, folks, it is time to wrap up for tonight. And let's do that, shall we? What are we going to leave you with tonight? Let's try and end things on an upbeat note, shall we? How about this song to inspire freedom, a little bit of retro pop culture, Americana. You know, this is automotive stuff, which you know that I love. It's also retro pop because it's all about Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox, who Biden awarded the Medal of Freedom to just the other day. And this is all about going 88 miles an hour and going back in time, maybe to the before times. This is Magic 88 by Maverick and the News Brothers. Any donation of $10 or more tonight, and I'll send you the full album of automotive-related retro pop culture songs by Maverick and the News Brothers. So here it is, Magic 88. See you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Love you. See you on the flip side.
Future's in sight, the DeLorean's ready, it's time to ignite. Stainless steel with the gull-wing doors, this machine's built to break all the laws. Flux capacitor lights the way when the speed hits 88. Through the years the world will know, this time machine's the star of the show. Magic 88, we're flying through time in a DeLorean, feeling so fine. With Mr. Fusion, we're set to soar past present, future, forevermore. Magic 88, hold on tight, in the DeLorean we light up the night. Hit the gas, the roads a blur, in the blink of an eye it's all astir. Lightning bolts power up the ride, with Mr. Fusion charged up inside. Fueling the future with scraps in hand, turning trash into power, that's the plan. From Hill Valley to the stars above, the DeLorean's ride is the one we love. Magic 88, we're flying through time in a DeLorean, feeling so fine. With Mr. Fusion, we're set to soar past present, future, forevermore. Magic 88, hold on tight, in the DeLorean we light up the night. Great Scott, we're on the move in that DeLorean, we found the groove. From Doc's wild ride to Marty's scream, this car's the heart of the dream. Movie magic shining bright, DeLorean's wings ready for flight. Through history it stole the show, now forever it's the car we know. Magic 88, we're flying through time in a DeLorean, feeling so fine. With Mr. Fusion, we're set to soar past present, future, forevermore. Magic 88, hold on tight, in the DeLorean we light up the night. When you see those lights aglow and the tires blaze as the legends go, remember the ride that made us believe. With Mr. Fusion's power we never leave. We're flying through time in a DeLorean, feeling so fine. With Mr. Fusion, we're set to soar past present, future, forevermore. Magic 88, hold on tight, in the DeLorean we light up the night. Great Scott, we're on the move. In that DeLorean we found the groove. From Doc's wild ride to Marty's scream, this car's the heart of the dream. We never leave.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.